And I have remembered to turn the microphone on this week. Welcome aboard, Noel. Welcome aboard, Luke's Fishing in the Northern Territory. Welcome aboard, Dave, who's in my Ponga. Gee, you get around, Dave. Luke's Fishing, yeah. This is up near Reedy Creek, up near Manham, at a place called Manham Waterfalls. So, yeah, they only run during the winter months, and sometimes they don't run. So, yeah, I wish there was trout in the creek. I wish I was fishing. G'day, Steve Klink. Welcome aboard. G'day, Andy. Welcome aboard. I don't know what the topic is tonight. I don't have my notes here. I'll have to get them in a minute. G'day, JK. Welcome aboard. Bro. Welcome aboard. O'Malley Tours. Welcome aboard. And Zamago. G'day, mate. How you going? So, what was I going to do tonight? One of the things I was going to do last week, which I forgot to do, was show some images out of the Barossa Valley line collection from the National Railway Museum, because I didn't get to include all the images, so I was going to chuck some of them in. I'm going to talk about an insane project that I've got coming up, a couple of other history-related things, and then we'll see how we go from there. What do you guys want to talk about? What have you been up to? Oh, that's interesting, O'Malley. Where can you swim at the Manham Waterfalls? There's some water holes down lower, I'm imagining. But, yeah, so what I'll do is, because I've forgotten everything else that's on my list. It's not a long list tonight anyway. G'day, Van Couple. Where are you this week, guys? Welcome aboard. I'm just going to bring up that slideshow. Hopefully it's not on auto. Okay, it's on manual now. So these are some of the images that I got from the National Railway Museum of the railway stations in the Barossa Valley that I didn't use. Now I'm just going to go grab my notes. I'm back. Yay. Oh, g'day, Luggy11. Welcome aboard. That's right, I was going to talk about the Advocate article, because my uncle sent me something on the Tallow Ventures and their rail trail up at Glen Ray. So there's a little bit to talk about there. And we're going from there. But anyway, this is Windy Wollonga. Is it windy down there? It's not windy up here. So this is Tanunda, and then we go through to Nuriutpa. This might be a little bit random. I probably should have used an image like this in the last video where I was talking about the design of the building. You know, the supports for the balcony and all that kind of stuff, being a really ho-hum kind of South Australian Railways design. Now this one is, I've got to zoom in on it to figure out which one it is. Sorry, I'm just going to go to source files because I can't quite see what that one is on my screen. Maybe someone can read the sign, because it's not working for me on my screen at the moment. There we go, there it is. Okay, so that's Rland Flat. And if you go to Rland Flat these days, which is in between Lyndoch and Tanunda, if you know the Barossa Valley well, it's just as you turn that big sharp corner and go over the railway crossing, there's a cemetery there, and you can find your way in the back way to what remains of Rland Flat, or Rowland's Flat as it was named in the beginning there. You can see a house in the back of the shot there. That house is still there. I think there's a couple of more buildings around there, but that's everything that's gone from that area, and it's just literally gone without a trace. So probably should have shown that one too, but you know, anyway, I only had so much time and so many photos. Now, where was I? This is taken on the platform at Rowland Flat. Another really iconic photo, I think, framed really well. Here is an excursion train pulling out of Angus railway station. So the good thing about going to the railway museum is you can get access to some of the images that are within copyright, because you can transfer copyright. No, I haven't been out on the road, not long distances anyway, for a bit. I mean, the last probably 3 weeks ago now was all those trips out to the Barossa Valley, but that's almost a bit like a suburban trip. Next up, I'm planning a trip to Red Hill up near Port Pirie. Again, that's only 2-3 hours away. But the next big road trip that I'm planning is up to Maree, and that's going to be probably 4 days. I'm just kind of working out how to fund it, to be honest, and what kind of accommodation I'm going to get. So I've been doing some mapping projects which have helped me work out some of the timings and some of the things that I want to see up there. But that's probably coming mid-June sometime, where there'll be the 4-day road trip to the outback, because I am itching to get out and about. But the next video, Andy, I'll do probably maybe 1, maybe 2 trips from here up to Red Hill. So if you know a bloke at Red Hill and he knows his trains, then I'm looking for anecdotes or information or stuff you might not find on the internet about all of these stations. There's a heap of stuff I can find on the internet, particularly if you search hard. But I'm always interested in stuff that you might not necessarily read about on some of these towns. So that'd be cool if you want to hook us up. Can you still get a roast dinner at the Angus pub? I bet you could. The Angus pub's still there. But Anguston's got some really freaking nice restaurants. There's an Italian restaurant up there now that we go to, which is absolutely brilliant. If you're ever up that way, check out some of the other restaurants as well. Now, what's next in my random selection of picks? I thought this one was really cool because this is Tandon. Oh, thanks, Noel. I've been to Maree once and had a bit of a look on the walls there, and there's some great history around there. I'm looking forward to looking at it a little bit deeper this time. G'day, Train Boy 1200. This is Tandon railway station. Now, let me just see if I can get a date for you. I'm pretty sure it's in the 50s. Early 1930s. Is when this image was taken at Tandon, and I love the station building, which is a fair bit. Looks like it might even be smaller and not have had the extension on it at this stage. Like maybe the long bit was an extension. And I love the advertising hoardings back in the 1930s, and you still couldn't avoid the advertising. But it's a very clean scene there at Tandon. This is looking out of Anguston, I think in the early 2000s, just before everything shut down there, looking towards the Barossa Valley. And this is the station at Truro, one of the images I didn't use because I had a couple of images of Truro, so I use another one. Without the National Railway Museum, it was impossible to find good images. And I might add Stations Past. This image actually is from Stations Past, and I reached out to them and asked for permission to use some of their images. So that's a great resource as well, stationspast.net.au, I reckon. And just type in the station that you want, and then get in touch if you want permission to use the images. It would be cool to see what was on that ad board, no? If I go back to that image, and let me see if I can do some transforming or something. We'll try and zoom in. Okay, no, the only way to do that would be to increase the size of the frame in OBS. I'm just working on this in the other screen rather than do it live, but I think we can actually see what's on some of these. Good idea, no? So just gonna keep zooming in. This is not your usual, but getting there. super big. Okay. Yeah, it does. That's one thing that really intrigues me, Van Couple. Um, the is the station design. So Wollonga would have been designed. All of these railway stations, the place kind of exploded in the early 1900s, and so a lot of the designs would have been based on stock and pattern designs, which meant that the same building or with slight changes was built just about everywhere. And so as I follow all the railway lines around South Australia, I'm picking up on that, as you would have seen through some of my videos. But I've zoomed in, right in on that sign. I can see some advertising for some kind of sauce or something. So this looks like all kinds of pasted advertisements on a big white board, and I can tell there's one for Kiwi, and I'm assuming that might be the boot polish. That's the only Kiwi I can think of. Holbrooks, you reckon? God, I can hardly even read that, but yeah, well done actually. Yeah, Holbrook sauce, excellent. You win the internet for today. Thanks, O'Malley. Sing out if you can spot any of the others, because I can't really spot it. If I took it offline and took it into Photoshop, and you might be able to do something with the contrast and the like. But yeah, the Kiwi one's the only one I can make out. So that was that. Those are the Barossa images, and thanks for that tip on zooming in there. Definitely that station. That's Tandon Station. Tandon Station's a lot longer these days. Same building, just a lot longer. Okay, so what are we going to do next? I was going to talk about this Advocate article, which was so old school. That's why I should talk about it, right? It was handed to me by my auntie while I was in Coffs Harbour, and it's out of the Coffs Coast News of the area, right? Because the Advocate stopped printing and went online only, so everyone wanted newspaper still, so we got Coffs Coast News of the area, and it's still around. I fixed up the light a little bit over there, so it's a little bit easier for me to point things at the camera now. But Tallow Ventures, and there they are. There they are, bravely doing their railway things and laying their tracks and stuff. What I still find really intriguing about this is all of the stories that I see are all about this rail trail that they want to put through from Glenray to Yulong, essentially, and the outrageous cost of doing that, because obviously I've seen a few rail trails built, and you see what kind of standard that you want them built to, and I've been out there and seen the line, particularly in places like up around Timbertop and through the escarpment country. That's heavy duty work. They haven't even lifted the line. Just to get that line out of there before you could create a rail trail would be an outrageous expense, I reckon. But what really kills me too is that all of the images, and then generally the end of the story, is how they also want to run their 1919, I think that's just the number, their steam engine along the 1 kilometre section of track that they might be able to get preserved. But there they are again, relaying another 37 sleepers. I'm not sure if it was the same 37 that they just relayed when I was up there a year ago. So they got their funding to get the train back on track later this year, so hopefully sometime in 2025. So yeah, look, I really hope, and I'll follow this and mark it down. And Noel as well, being in Coffs, you might be able to follow it and pick up on a little bit more in the local media there. But late 2025, we might be able to book a train ride from Glenray on at least part of the Glenray Mountain Railway line. Rightio. What else? I'm heading to a couple of history festival events. That's over the next month. you probably won't see any new videos from me probably for another week or two. I've kind of just been engaged in all this sort of background planning and researching and thinking about things and script writing, and not really 100% sure where to kick out and drive just yet. Sort of everything's in planning mode, but yeah, I do have probably 3 or 4 videos planned to come out over the next couple of months, just not in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, check it out from time to time. So I am going to the Behind Closed Doors event. I've been there for the last couple of years to go down and have a look around, because they open up some of the carriages and you can get inside that you normally can't. And I was able to get permission and organise some before hours access, because I really would like to get in and spend some time looking around the carriages without having to worry about other people getting in the way, or me getting in the way of other people, has happened the last couple of years. So it'd be great to have that that morning access to the National Railway Museum and do some behind the scenes or behind closed doors footage, which I'll give to them, but that will also form the basis of a little bit more of an interior design related video, I guess you could say. What do you mean I'm one of the elites, man? I don't know about that. But yeah, really looking forward to that. Hopefully before that I'll actually get out and do this video as well. So the Adelaide to Red Hill line, right? I'm just going to screen cap this now. And I'll just make sure the screen cap works. So y'all who know what I do these animations, and I draw these, and I originate these paths out of Google Earth. Google Earth Studio is another thing altogether, and it's a great tool. A lot of people are using that these days, but you can't do the same path mapping stuff. You can actually take some of these paths and put them into Google Studio, and you can do stuff with them, and it's a lot quicker than trying to do it in Google Earth Studio. But anyway, Google Earth is great. So I thought, I'm going to do this Adelaide to Red Hill line, or Salisbury to Red Hill line, and I'll start drawing out the little map. And then got to the end of drawing out the line, and the line goes from Salisbury, where it breaks off the main north line, and winds its way. And I've traced all of these lines, so if we zoom in, they're pretty much spot on. Well, as far as a human can get them spot on. And they run all the way up to Port Pirie, where it rejoins the line there. So that's the course of the broad gauge line. And I started to do my script, and I thought, well, one of the reasons why this line was built was because of other railway lines, so I kind of need to perhaps trace those lines around. So when I'm telling the story, as you know, in the animation, I'll be also maybe talking about how this line intersected with 2 or 3 other railway lines, and why this railway was needed when we had so many other railways. And so I thought, well, before I do all of just the lines around here, I better see what's in my library and start to organise the library of maps that I've got in Google Earth. And so I rearranged the library. I figured out what I had, what I didn't have. I burnt a lot of the broken stuff down, the half-done stuff that I'd used for other videos. And I thought, well, maybe I might even do all of the lines while I'm here in this session. And I'll start with, and how about I even start with the ones that I don't really want to do, right? The really long ones, the really remote ones, and then I'll work my way back in. And that way I'm guaranteed to get this project finished. Well, 3 days later, and I've got every single South Australian railway line built as a path, including the dual gauge and the standard gauge and the old narrow gauge up through the Flinders Ranges all the way up nearly to Alice Springs. So yeah, so these look, there's still some errors from time to time, but you know what, when you're tracing a railway line from Hawker up to nearly Alice Springs, you're not going to get it quite right. But this is essentially just for me to be able to animate the lines in future. I mean, I don't know if this will become a resource at any stage. So if you look on the left hand side there, that's all of the lines there. Still got Hairy Legs tracks down the bottom there. I haven't allocated these to folders yet. I'm still just working on it. I haven't added any tram lines yet. So if we go right down into here, you've got both the Glenelg lines, you've got all the suburban lines and the things that go around and about. So I have kind of retraced this, because if we look at Hairy Legs tracks, right, and this is Hairy Legs tracks overlay that I've used for a long time, I can't animate these tracks, right? I can't do any of those, point-to-point animations with them. They're just either there or they're not. Whereas what I've created now is these point-to-point animations. So case in point is I go and put that into, say, After Effects. And I'll fit the screen there, and then I can turn this into a shape, or essentially add a thing called Trim Paths. And then I can turn it up and turn it down. So I could, for example, set the timer there to be 0%, and then at 6 seconds later, the line's played out. And so how that works is like that. And that is, in a nutshell, how I do it. And tonight, I actually found a new tool where I can actually get this done in bulk for free, because if I'm going to, I need to figure out a better way to do this. If I'm going to bring 82 separate lines into After Effects and try and animate them, I face some challenges when I'm bringing 2 or 3 lines in. There's a bit of what's the word for it? Work to be done. Like, they're a bit elastic. The Google Earth data is 3D map data, whereas once it gets into After Effects, it's literally only looking for 2D map data. So there's actually a bit of work I've got to do to straighten it out and to make it work. Maybe I should have kept count, because over the last 3 days I've traced every single bloody railway line in South Australia, and I recommend it to anyone taking a tour around. I actually found it quite zen and quite a relaxing thing to do. So now that tool there is something that I've got. I'll go back to Google Earth now. That I can switch on and off, bring in as different animations. I've done all the different ones as well, including the old tramway down at Victor Harbour. That's one tramway I did include, because that became a railway. So yeah, I'm a bit kind of at the what now stage, but I'll be able to confidently talk about the railway line from Salisbury to Port Pirie, because originally the railway line took you all the way up around through Hallett and Peterborough, and up through the Flinders Ranges if you wanted to get to Western Australia before this railway line was built. Talk about the bloody long way around. I usually do a book of the week as well. Let's take this off Screencap now. Oh yeah, this is a resource if anyone wants these as well. I mean, you can't sell Google Map things. I can just send you the KML file and you can work out what to do with it from there, or I can just send you all 82 of the bastards. Then you can load them into your Google Earth and you can just follow them around and have a look. This is not just existing, but all the railway lines that ever existed in South Australia. Now what do I do? And yeah, I'm like, great, now what do I do? Book of the week I was going to do. Transition back to this one. I saw some footy ovals that I didn't know were there too when I was tracing the lines. Because you've got a top-down view, obviously. There were even some ovals out there in places that I'd visited before that I'd completely missed. So there was a couple of them out there. I think Peak might have been one of them, out there on the Mallee Highway as you head towards Pinaroo. And other ovals that are out there, I think, I can't remember, it might have been Geranium or something like that. They're kind of hiding off in the corner behind some scrub and you don't really look there. Book of the week's going to be that one. This is another one of, I think, Steve McNichol's books, The Gawler 150. Celebrating the 150th anniversary of the opening of the Adelaide to Gawler Railway. I think you might be right, Jabbook. Oh no, but the Jabbook Oval is pretty big and pretty easy to see when you're standing there at the old Jabbook Railway yards. I picked this one up down at the Railway Museum the other week. And in true style, it's got a lot of book kind of information, maps and stuff that you can just kind of linger over and look at other ways of interpreting things. A lot of images as well. I figured I might be able to pick up a few bits and pieces, maybe tiny little bits and pieces about Salisbury Railway Station and perhaps the Salisbury to Redhill railway line while I was at it. But a bit of book research. I do it as book of the week, but I haven't had time to read it yet. Go, shows the back cover, go check it out. I did browse for a while at the National Railway Museum and a lot of their books, but a lot of the books I've already done the video on, man, so it's a bit late now. Right, that's it. That's it for the week. Only a quick one this week because I've just had my head in Google Earth and it's just been crazy. So, and a lot of planning. Hopefully now I've got a better way to access the images at the National Railway Museum as well, and I can go back to just kind of getting images much quicker than having to wait a couple of months before visiting. Andrew down there's been great, but I need to get access to images that I don't necessarily have to wait a month or two for. Yeah, I love those Mallee towns, and I will be back out there at one stage to do Pinaroo over to Oyen. But that's, in the second half of this year. Let's see how we go, because I am relying a fair bit on how YouTube goes as to how far I can go over the next few months at least anyway. So what am I doing now? We can't just go straight to the end, even though I went just straight to the beginning. Okay, there. And we turn that, and we turn that, and we do that. Look at me go. I don't know whether you noticed, I've been doing a few tweaks around about the place with the... You always point the wrong way when you're on camera. With the logo and changing the posters around, updating the fonts and all that kind of thing. Always pushing the boundaries, always updating all the different platforms and stuff that I'm on. If you are on Facebook, go over to Facebook and follow me there at Outdoors Type on Facebook and on Instagram. I've decided to put a bit more effort into growing those channels. G'day, Jonas. Welcome aboard. Thank you for coming on board, mate. It's Wednesday night and 8:43. Yeah, probably should go to bed. I'm just going to finish this massive beer first. Where are we? Narracourt Showgrounds. Narracourt Showgrounds is damn cool. Anyway, that's everything that I wanted to cover for this week. If you still don't know what Good Chats is about, then I still don't know what Good Chats is about either. That's just what we do every Wednesday night at 8:15 p.m. Thanks to everyone who came on board tonight. Thanks to all the replayers as well, if you made it this far. We do this for half an hour every Wednesday night, come hell or high water, no matter what kind of week I've been having or what kind of week you're having, I suppose. But you don't always have to be here, but I will be. Noel, thank you for coming on board. Luke's Fishing in the Northern Territory, thanks for coming on board. I'm Dave, and my Ponga crew, thanks for coming on board. Luke's Fishing in the Northern Territory, thanks for coming on board. Steve Klink, Andy Munro, Jeremy Kemp, Ree, thanks bro for coming on board. Michael O'Malley, thanks for coming on board, sir. Zamargo, thanks for coming on board. Fan Couple, always great to have you guys on board from Windy Wollonga. Luggy 111. Oh, who else have we had on board tonight? Trainboy 1200, thanks for coming on board. And who else came in tonight? Northern Territory runs on beers, man. Yeah. JK, thank you for coming on board. Hey, I actually turned the mic on when I started the stream tonight. And Jonas Vlogs, thanks for coming on board. You just caught the tail end of it. We'll do it again at 8:15 p.m. next Wednesday, and I look forward to seeing you all then. Peace.